Welcome to the College Basketball Net Profit Show. It is Thursday, March 9th. Ian Cameron and Conor Mack with you, ready to break down what's left of this huge Thursday slate. Tons of games today in conference tournament action. We'll get right into it. We will begin in the MAC. We've got one game left in the MAC conference tournament quarterfinals. We have Buffalo taking on Akron. Akron 7.5-point favorites, 146.5 being the total in this game. I don't have much faith in Buffalo. I've said it before. I don't think Buffalo's as good this year. I think Akron's definitely the better of these two teams, and Buffalo's had tough times with Akron. I think Akron wins. Do I want to lay 7.5? No, but to me, it's you find a way maybe to put Akron in some kind of money line parlay if you don't want to lay 7.5. But I do think Akron wins this game. I think they're the better squad. What do you think, Conor?
I do too, but I'm not laying 7.5 with Akron. Not the way they played down the stretch. They were good against the number. Buffalo's just been so up and down. I mean, they won their last couple. Northern Illinois, Miami, Ohio. I can't take them. As much as I'd lean the points here with the dog, I just can't do it. And I don't know what the total. It seems like this was one Babano that would just fly over, or Akron's got a kind of a good defense, and this maybe stays in like the high 60s, one of those type games. So I'm off that as well. This is one I did not get involved with.
All right, let's go now to the ACC, I believe, is next up. Yep, ACC conference, A10 rather, LaSalle and Fordham. Fordham 6.5-point favorites, 140 being the total in this game. Fordham, of course, first game of the tournament for them, third game of the tournament for LaSalle. They've played twice already, and LaSalle a bit of a surprise they've gotten this far, but give them credit. Back-to-back wins for the LaSalle Explorers. And we'll see if they can keep that momentum going here against Fordham. I'm always in danger of, going against teams that have this kind of momentum going, taking points. Look at the Northern Arizona game last night. And, they won by a half a point. But when these teams just catch, that was close. I'll tell you what, it was the last second shot to get us there. But, LaSalle's got some serious momentum going. They didn't play their best basketball early this season, but they played better down the stretch. I find they've really picked up their play on defense, and they're making shots. That's been the big difference. They've got their collective game at a much higher level right now, this LaSalle team. So maybe buyer beware on Fordham laying points in this game. LaSalle's got something cooking right now with their recent form in these last few games. So it would be the underdog or pass for me. Conor, what do you think?
Yeah, LaSalle. We talked about on yesterday's show. If they won't cover, they'll just beat Duquesne, which they did. Because it was just the Duquesne team I thought was a little bit better. Same thing here. Fordham, I think, is the better team. They just beat down Duquesne in their last game before this game here. I think Fordham's better. This one's tough. I don't know. It's like you just said. You keep riding it, and I'd take the points. Both 6 points and 2 points were the matchups this year, or last year. Only one this year. They lost by 2, 6-64. And last year was 60-54. So you mentioned LaSalle's defense been a little bit better of late. These last two they won. I'm not going to mess with the total, but I'm leaning heavy here. I haven't bet it yet, but I'm leaning to the 6 with LaSalle, and that's coming from I took Fordham a lot. I think they're pretty good and win, but I lean the 6.
All right, ACC now, tournament quarterfinals. North Carolina, Virginia. We got Virginia 2.5-point favorites, 128.5 the total. North Carolina cannot obviously rest on their laurels. They cannot assume anything right now. They probably aren't in the tournament yet. They've got to at least win today, if not win the entire ACC tournament. I don't know what exactly it'll. I know one thing right now is they're definitely not in the tournament right now. I think they've got to win today. And they've probably got to at least get to the title game of this tournament, if not win it. And I was waiting to see, would North Carolina show me a spark, a sign of, hey, it's been a disappointing season. We've underachieved. We've struggled. We've been inconsistent. We've had some turmoil off the court. Would they show it, that resolve against Boston College and, go out there and play a good game? And they sure did. They beat the doors off of Boston College last night. So, maybe this team does have a run in them. And, for that reason, I'd probably lean North Carolina here. I don't, obviously this game is everything to them. It's not like I'm looking to lay points with Virginia either. And the thing too is Virginia, they sometimes struggle with the 3-point shot. And don't look now, North Carolina finally started to make some threes last night. And that's the one area where Virginia can be a bit vulnerable. The big concern for North Carolina is Baycott's status. Rolled his ankle last night against BC. How healthy will he be? But then again, I think, like I said, if they resort to now maybe more a perimeter game without Baycott, that's still where you can do some damage against Virginia. So Tar Heels are nothing for me. I'll take a small shot with that. I don't love it, but I'll take a small shot with them, 2.5. Connor, what do you think?
This game, it's just got me round and round here, Babano. So I think I just need to to lay off because there's so much. The under to this game. The last game had some pace. North Carolina, when they beat them that last game, 71-63, February 25th, they shot it well, 10 for 22 from three. Does that happen again? I don't know. And the first matchup, they didn't, and they lost 65-58. And people see this 129, you want to go over. I get it, it's low, but UNC's defense has been pretty good throughout the year. A little bit more of an under team than up and down. Obviously, they want to push pace. Virginia is slow, just back and forth. And the big thing is Virginia might get back. I'm not going to lay 2.5 for them, 2.5. They've just struggled against the number all year. Both these teams are kind of not a bet on for me. So in the end, after all the crap, I'm just going to be off. I get why, North Carolina needs to win. They're hot. I get the other side. Virginia's, always there. Maybe could win. I'm going to be off.
All right, NC State Clemson for the other ACC quarterfinal tonight. We've got pretty much a pick 'em here, -1. Total 148, pretty much across the board. Clemson slight home favorites in this game. I think NC State could make a bit of a run in the ACC tournament. I kind of like them a little bit more than I like Clemson. I like NC State a little bit here in this game, even though they won yesterday. Keep in mind they blew out a solid Virginia Tech team. Clemson, to me, I don't know what to make of them. I don't trust them. They did beat down NC State 96-71 on February 25th. If anything, I think NC State, wants to earn some redemption here. You actually take out that win, and the other wins recently for Clemson were Florida State twice and Syracuse. So it's not like they've really beaten quality opponents other than that win against NC State. And I think NC State's going to play a whole lot better tonight. So I kind of like the Wolfpack here in a pick 'em price range in this game. I like this game over the total as well. They played back in February. The game flew over the total. NC State's gone over in 3 of the last 4 games. It's kind of been an over type of team lately for Clemson. 7-1 to the over in their last 8 games. So I also like this game up and over the total 148. What do you think, Connor?
Total, I agree with. I wish this was a few points lower. Tournament games I always bring up, but this is one that was an over for me, even at this number. NC State, huge win. Last night I liked them, took them, but I didn't think they win by 20. I always don't love that off the big win, the huge 20-point win. How will they come back? And I was on Clemson just a few weeks ago, +6, and they just stomped that ass. And they've won 5 straight, like you mentioned, against NC State, just have had their number. Man, this one's tough. I want to take NC State too, to get a little revenge. Both these teams, I just think, are athletic and get up and down. So I think I'll just stick to the over. I think it gets there. And the big one, like I mentioned, Clemson a little bit better. The quad one wins. If you get in all that stuff, we don't go too much deep into that. 1-6. NC State hasn't had too many big wins, but I think this would be one. So I lean that side too with you, but over.
Yeah, if Terquavian Smith and Jarkel Joyner play like they did last night, they're going to have a great chance to win NC State. Wow, they play great. They're just making a ton of big-time shots, especially from long distance from the perimeter, leading the charge for NC State. All right, we go to the Big East, Madison Square Garden, quarterfinal action. DePaul, Xavier, 12-point favorites, 152.5 the total in this one. DePaul, I took them against Seton Hall, and what a win it was. Crazy finish. One of the most insane finishes you'll actually see in college basketball, where it looked the big 3 to take the lead, and then it looked like Seton Hall won it at the buzzer, but they waved it off. They reviewed it. They waved it off for goaltending, and at the end of the day, DePaul ends up getting a huge victory. Now, do they have anything left in the tank here? Playing back-to-back now, facing Xavier. And then on the flip side, can you lay this many points in a neutral court with Xavier, a Xavier team that this year against DePaul, they did beat them up pretty badly, 82-68 the last time they played. DePaul beat them in the first meeting, though, and DePaul has covered 4 of the last 5 meetings with this Xavier Musketeers team. Remember, they're still likely without Kiki Tandy, Zach Fremantle, still out for this team. So see if they can maintain and find a way to get it done without those 2 guys. I'm passing in this game. I do feel like DePaul might just run out of gas tonight, but I'm also not ready to lay this many points with the Musketeers. What do you think here, C-Mac?
If DePaul, I think, scores in this one, it could get over. Eileen, I'm not gonna mess with that, but I'm almost there with DePaul. You mentioned that game just a while ago. I remember. I think you were on it. Because DePaul played them so tight and they lost by 14. It was right there. They just missed it. I wish I had 14 here, but the way Xavier's defense is, they're not a team to be laying points like this. So I'm almost there on DePaul. I like the points.
All right, liking DePaul a little bit here is Conor with this one. All right, Villanova, Creighton, 5-point favorites, 134. The total in this one. This one I'm almost wanting to take Villanova catching points in the Big East tournament. This has been a great tournament. Yeah.
I'm on the 5. Yeah.
This has been a great tournament for years, Villanova. We know how good. Now, this was all Jay Wright years. I get it, when they were good in the Big East tournament. But let's not forget Villanova, after a bad start, playing better down the stretch. They come into this game definitely playing a little bit better, more confidence. And look, for Villanova, they need to they've got work to do if they want to solidify any chance to be in the NCAA tournament. Creighton did win their last 2 games, but they only beat Georgetown and DePaul. They lost to Villanova the last time these 2 teams played each other. In fact, Villanova 2-0 ATS this year versus Creighton. 5-point loss in the first meeting at Creighton, and then they, of course, won at home against Creighton the last time they played. So I'm taking the 5 here with Villanova. I think it's a close game, worst case scenario. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I'm on the 5. I already bet this one. I always like to bring up Nova, the good free throw shooting team, and something about Creighton, even though early on in the year they had some good neutral site games where they played well, but away from home, they haven't been the same team. I think Nova's turning around, and this is too many points. I think they lost by 5, and then they just beat them a couple weeks ago, did Nova. Just a little bit too much here for Creighton. Yeah, I like Nova here. Give me the 5. I think they could maybe win it outright. You on mute? You on mute?
Yeah, Big Ten second round. Next up, Penn State, Illinois. Illinois 2.5-point favorites, 140 the total here in this game. This is another one where this feels like it's a close game. Illinois definitely had their share of ups and downs. We saw them lose their final game to Purdue in their last game of the Big Ten regular season. We'll see if they can bounce back from that here tonight against Penn State. Penn State's played great down the stretch, really. Other than the loss to Rutgers, they've been really good. 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games, playing some really good basketball. Defensively, they've picked up and improved their game in the last few. And really, Jalen Pickett's been awesome. This is the guy that stirs the drink for Penn State. 16 points in the victory in their last game against Maryland. Playing really well. Illinois is just too schizophrenic to lay points with them for me right now on a neutral court. I'd probably give a slight edge to Penn State. I'd lean that way. I'll probably bet them small at least in this game, but Nittany Lions, I think, might have a shot here. What do you think, Conor?
Yeah, we talked about this. People think, Illinois. I mean, look what happened with Michigan. This seems like, it's just easy here. But you hit it. They've lost already to Penn State, and they couldn't stop Pickett both games. I know he had 20, but Lundy, Funk, all those guys control. And the other one, he had like 42 in the second meeting. There's no way with Illinois. And I mentioned earlier when I saw on Jimmy's show, 31% from 3, 34, 303, 68% free throws. Not even a short line do I want to lay points, Bavano. This is Penn State or nothing at all for me here. I'm off the total. Penn State can go over if they're hot shooting it. I'm off. It could stay under. I'm off.
All right, the other second round Big Ten game tonight is Maryland laying 13 against Minnesota. Big number there, and the total in the 139.5, 140 range here in this game. Actually, 132.5 is what the total is right now. Maryland's definitely better than Minnesota. Of course they are, but they have lost 2 in a row at Ohio State, at Penn State. All their successes at home, and you get them away from College Park. I mean, it's really insane how bad things have gone. Now, they haven't. The one road win, though, was against this Minnesota team, and they beat them up pretty badly. In fact, both meetings, 88-70, 81-46 in favor of Maryland in the 2 games against Minnesota this year. They won and covered both games. But Minnesota here late in the season, look, Ben Johnson's got to be proud of this team as a head coach. I mean, they've had a terrible season. Things haven't gone well. They're very young. They lost a lot from last year, starting from scratch. But here they are down the stretch. I mean, they beat Rutgers as dogs outright, lost by 4 to Wisconsin, and then found a way to get a win against Nebraska last time out. So, they're playing with that. And they had a great interview with one of the players saying, we're not rolling over. We're not ready to end our season yet. We're not ready to go home just yet. And that told me something. They're playing with great spirit right now. Their effort's been good. Their defense has been much better the last few games. Offensively, they're actually starting to make shots. It's a big problem for them much of the season. And to me, Maryland's just way, way, way too poor away from home to lay 13 in a neutral court setting like this with them. So I'm not saying I'm rushing to bet Minnesota, but I'm not going to be interested in laying this many points with the Terrapins. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, both meetings they romped, like you mentioned, but that was after that loss. Minnesota's been pretty good, won a couple there, covered 3 of 4. This is hold your nose if you want to bet Minnesota. You don't want to bet Maryland. Yeah, they covered both, but they're not great offensively. And Minnesota is tough to watch here. But neutral game, take the points here. As we see these points, they come in handy. There's going to be a blowout or two, in some of these games, and favorites will cover. But these games like this, I think the points will come in handy. So I take it.
All right, Tulsa, Wichita State, in the AAC first round matchup. We've got Wichita State 16-point favorites, 137.5 the total. I like the over here. That's what I'm going to stick to. I mean, I'm staying off the side. Wichita should win, clearly. We know they're much better than Tulsa. They played Tulsa twice. They won both games, but they only won them by 4 and by 11, and they're laying 16 here. So it is a huge, huge number, but I don't want Tulsa. Tulsa has that look of a team that wants this season to end pretty much at this point, the way they continue to they've been destroyed here their last couple of games against Central Florida and South Florida. I'm just going to stick to the over. Again, we've talked about this over and over with Wichita. 13-1 they are to the over. They finally had a game that stayed under in their last game to break that over streak. But I think with this total only at 137, I'm right back to the well here with the Wichita State Shockers over the total in one of their games against Tulsa. Connor, what do you think?
Tulsa. This is horrible defensively. You're going to find some of the worst, one of the worst teams out there. And the flip side, horrible offensively. Just bad. Every number is in the 300s if you look offensively with them. They did lose by 11 and, by 4 for that. I don't know. I can't take Tulsa. And Wichita, who had a huge second half against South Florida, covered. They're not a real team I want to lay a number like this. They win. It's just, do they cover? Maybe look at their team total with Wichita too to get over if you think you like the full game over. Well, what Tulsa will show up? The 56-point Tulsa or 55, or can they get there and be in this game and score 70?
That's the big question. No doubt about it. Oklahoma State, Texas, Big 12 quarterfinals in Kansas City. We've got Texas 6.5-point favorites, 141.5 being the total here in this game. Oklahoma State beating the Sooners in their last game against yesterday in the Big 12. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here today. facing Texas. The Longhorns now coming into this game with that big win against Kansas, trying to get things going here in the Big 12 tournament. Oklahoma State, like I say, won 2 in a row, covered 2 in a row. And then before that, the losses to Baylor and Kansas State were just by 5 and by 6 points. So they were pretty competitive in both of those games, which was good to see. Texas definitely the better of these two teams. Very good offensively, no doubt about that. This Texas team, they've scored 70s and 80s now in 5 straight games. But Oklahoma State's defense has really stepped up here the last couple games. And again, the last 2 losses they've had before the 2 wins were competitive losses to pretty good teams like K-State and Baylor. This one's set at a pretty good number, but I could see Oklahoma State maybe hanging around here just a little bit in this one, getting 6.5. Could be one of those games too. I fear that maybe in the last 20 minutes, this is not a team with a ton of depth on their bench. They might run out of gas. So if you like Oklahoma State, maybe you split it with the first half and full game. What do you think here, Conor?
Man, that was a good win, but Oklahoma, once again, the offense was horrible last night. With Anderson gone, I can't back him here. I think Texas, they did beat Kansas State in the year. They've had some rest, and this game could be tight. I'm going to be off in the end of this one. I think Texas could cover, though. I can't get there.
All right, we've got TCU and Kansas State, the other Big 12 quarter tonight. TCU 2-point favorites, 148. I was going to take TCU, and I'm pretty much not going to take them now. I mean, Lampkin's banged up, probably ain't going to play for them. I could see them going with a bit of a smaller lineup as well tonight. And without him, I could see this game actually going over at 147.5. We know Kansas State can score with Marquise Noel and company offensively, but at the same time, I think TCU might go with a little smaller lineup, rely on Mike Miles Jr. Here in this game. And keep in mind, he didn't play in one of those games head-to-head against Kansas State when Kansas State beat them. So it will be good for them. It's a really good game. I think it's a tough game. I think either team could win. I don't want to side either side in this one, but I'll play over 147.5 here. Conor, what do you think?
Yeah, I lean to the over, but I had nothing in this one. This was a pass.
All right, SEC Tournament, second round, Arkansas, Auburn. So I like Arkansas. I just didn't expect the line to move like this. I didn't agree at all with Auburn being favored. I think Arkansas is better than Auburn. I don't care what anyone says. I know Arkansas has had ups and downs this year. They've had some injuries, but I think they're just better than Auburn. I was stunned Auburn was favored when this line opened, but now it's Arkansas -3. So you're definitely laying a premium now. I would say take money line -150 or so with Arkansas if you like them. I do like them. I think they win this game. I just think they're better than Auburn. And I think this is a team that we see it with Musselman in the past here in the SEC tournament. This team's capable of winning a few games, going on a bit of a heater in the SEC tournament. They've done it before. I wouldn't put it past them to do so once again. So what do you think here, Conor? Arkansas, Auburn.
Yeah, I missed the move here. I really don't want to be laying 3 with Arkansas now. And I'm not crazy about Auburn, but they have some size. I think they can battle here. We talk about Arkansas. I don't think they shoot it great. I know Smith's a better 3-point shooter, but Auburn on the flip side isn't, good either. Like I just mentioned, they need to pound it inside. So tough. I lean Auburn now. I don't, the move's been wild though. So this is one I don't want no part of here.
All right, the other SEC second round, I should say, tonight in the SEC. It's LSU and Vanderbilt. We've got LSU and Vanderbilt in the other matchup. We'll see what the number is here. I lost the screen here with my odds, but yeah, LSU Vanderbilt. This is one where I'm going to go right back to the well here. I got a push with the over last night with LSU Georgia. Very frustrating. It was so close to going over the number. It was 141. And that's exactly where the total ended. I think this game goes over the total as well. 141, 141.5. LSU, look, they're played a little bit better. Say what you will. They certainly haven't quit this year, even though they've had just all kinds of new faces and a very young basketball team. So it wouldn't put it past me to see them compete hard once again, maybe hang around in this game. But Vanderbilt's still the better squad. So I think maybe Vanderbilt in a money line parlay, if anything. And I do like the over here. What do you think, Conor?
Yeah, I think it's Vandy. 2. I just really don't want to lay the 4.5. We talk about teams we like taking points and teams we don't love laying points. This just seems like it here. I just be careful with Vandy. Watch LSU, who's not great. Not a good jump shooting team either. Maybe could hang around today. So, yeah, if you look, Vandy, maybe look at that money line parlay. I won't be. I'll be off.
All right, this game is minutes away in the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, Washington State, Oregon. We've got Oregon 2.5-point favorites, 133.5 the total in this game. I like the way the Cougars have played down the stretch. I like the idea of getting them plus 2.5. The way that I'm on Washington State here, I think they're right now just in better form than Oregon. But put it this way, if Washington State wins today, I'll probably ride them and bet them again tomorrow. But if Oregon wins today and beats Washington State, I'll probably ride Oregon, because if they win today, we know what this team often does in this Pac-12 tournament. They win one and they get confidence, and Dana Altman's just such a good coach that he's going to end up leading this team into some kind of run in the tournament and maybe even go it right to the championship game this weekend. I wouldn't put it past this Oregon team to do that. So I think these are two teams that whoever wins this game, you're going to maybe want to back them again tomorrow and moving forward. But for the purposes of this game tonight, I still think Washington State's playing a little bit better right now, and I'll take them plus the points, especially because they're slight dogs. What do you think here, Connor?
Shout out to the chat. Everyone hit the like button if you add in G. Martinez, our guy Nuke Worker, Ron Lofton, Abel, Boston Nick, Slow Jams, everyone up here, Rocco. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. Rick, Don Play, Andrew G, everyone up in here. Nanya, Real Deal Prime, The Grinder. Shout out to all you guys here. Man, I didn't get the 3. I'm a little bit pissed because, I want Washington State. I'm surprised, but man, you're not on Oregon here with Altman, no?
I am. I'm very surprised. It's not that I'm surprised.
Oh, you are on Oregon. I thought you said you're on Washington State.
No, I'm on Washington State here, actually. Yep. But I'll be on Oregon if they win this game. That's the way I'm going to go about it.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I think it's Wazoo. I would take here. I like the under as well. It's just not a great line here at 133.5. And the first half under was 62.5, 62. And then I've seen it come down to 61.5. I lean that way too, that under.
All right, Stanford and Arizona in the Pac-12 tournament. We've got Arizona 10-point favorites here, 153.5 the total here with this game. Stanford beat Arizona the last time these teams played, 88-79, back on February the 11th. The game flew over. I think I'd probably bet Stanford in the over here as well. The same two bets. I think it goes over. Arizona's gone over in 6 of the last 7 high-scoring affairs, and Stanford's playing maybe their best basketball right now. I'd say they are. 4-0 at ATS, 3-1 straight up. Their only loss at Oregon was by 5 points. The other losses, pretty competitive as well. So a lot of points. I mean, Arizona's definitely the better of these two teams, but I don't think they can win a 1 seed in this turn, regardless of what they're kind of in no man's land. They probably aren't going to be a 1 seed. They maybe, but I think they're going to end up being a 2 seed when it's all said and done. And they haven't made it easy on themselves in some of their games. And the Stanford team, like I said, right now they're in the best form they've had all year. So you could do a lot worse than take 10 points, a big number like this with Stanford at the moment. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, we're the talent here with Arizona. It could be a little of a bitch slap to Stanford, but I got to take the 10 here with them. Lately they played them tough as well, and I have like how they played. I like Stanford last night. They got it done against Utah, so I think the 10 is valuable here on a neutral court. I'll take it.
All right, Arizona State, USC, the last Pac-12 quarterfinal. USC 4-point favorites, 140.5 the total in this game. Huge game for Arizona State. They're right on the bubble. They need it. They need it badly, but I don't think they're as good as USC. So I don't really love this game. Pass. I mean, I'd lean under because I think USC will grind it out, slow it down. They're not a gifted offensive team. Arizona State, they really had trouble scoring against, let's be honest, a mediocre at best Oregon State team last night, and they let Oregon State hang around. They almost blew it late. You talk about sloppy basketball down the stretch. Arizona State had it against Oregon State. I mean, they just let the Beavers hang around. They play like that. I don't care how motivated they are, how much they need the win for their tournament hopes. They're not beating USC if they're that sloppy again tonight. So I'm passing here. What do you think, Connor?
So am I. I think SC wins. Maybe this is a short favorite. You take money line with a couple, like you mentioned earlier. That's where I'd look. I just don't trust Arizona. I think SC is just better, flat out. So I'd look that way with them.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's a good player. The Cambridge brothers are good players, but they
get hot. Oh yeah,
lack of IQ sometimes. Basketball IQ. This team, bad mistakes, turnovers, bad fouls, bad coaching sometimes. Honestly, from Bobby Hurley. Yeah, definitely USC to me is the better team here. Again, must win doesn't equal will win. Yeah, this is must win for Arizona State, but doesn't mean they're going to win the game either. All right, Mountain West. Quickly, this one's about to start, Connor. San Jose State, Nevada. Nevada, 4-point favorites, 130 the total. This is kind of like that Arizona State game. I mean, laying points with Nevada, they need the win. They're on the bubble too, but I haven't loved their form lately for Steve Alford's Nevada Wolfpack team. Tim Miles, I'm telling you what, he's actually done a nice coaching job. This team's played very hard down the stretch, San Jose. They're hanging tough. Their defense has improved. Be careful laying points with Nevada here is all I'll say. What do you think, Connor?
I know, and it just seems this was another one. Beware, San Jose State can make this game ugly, and not a ton here. I'd lean under, maybe the first half under as well. I want to look at it a little more, but Nevada, kind of whooped that ass both games. They do that at home, but on the road. But that was earlier on, I think. I have to pull it up. I don't have it right here, but yeah, I'd be a little leery of laying these with the Wolfpack.
All right, we move along here in the Mountain West. UNLV, Boise State. We've got Boise State 5.5-point favorites, 137 the total. They're betting Boise State a lot because that was a tough game. UNLV had to play overtime yesterday. They're on a back-to-back. I think Boise wins, but I'm not ready to lay 5.5. The regular season meetings between these two teams both got over 137. So to me, the total's a little light. Over is the way I'd bet this game here, Rebels and Broncos. And again, as you mentioned yesterday, I'm sure it'll be that way, even though it's a night game tonight. This is not a strong home court advantage for UNLV right now. Not at all. Not in the least. What do you think here, Connor?
No, it's not. But Boise laying a number? Nowhere. I want to bet. This team's been awful. Been against the number here. So I got to lean UNLV a little bit at home here. They played them tough. I watched the whole second half of that game, that 73-69 game where at Boise where they pulled it out. Man, I'm leaning the Rebels here. And I think Boise's better. And could they win here and cover this? Yeah. But and you mentioned the total. Boise more of an over team, And obviously UNLV started out under. They've gone over. And that game yesterday was a dead under that turned into OT to an over against Air Force. So I'll stay off that. But I'm looking at UNLV here.
All right, the last Mountain West quarterfinal tonight at the Thomas and Mack Center. We have New Mexico, Utah State. Utah State 3.5-point favorites, 156.5 the total here in this one. New Mexico obviously got the job done yesterday, getting points here in this game against Utah State. I just like this Utah State team. I think they will win this game tonight. I just don't know about laying 3.5. This feels like a game that still could be competitive because I think they've got the kind of team that they gave the New Mexico guard play. New Mexico does have good guards. They really gave them some trouble last time they played each other. So be careful with that going into this game here. But I think Utah State will probably win this game, but I'll probably play them in a money line parlay to be safe. As far as the total goes, man, I could only look over. These are two pretty explosive offensive teams, but there's going to be pace on both sides. They push the pace. They play in transition. So it's a high total, but you could definitely see points being scored in this game. This will be a fun game in the late night hours here at 8:30 Pacific, final game of the day for the Mountain West. What do you think here, Connor? New Mexico, Utah State.
Yeah, I don't know what Star Child's talking about. All right, Boise State, the favorite. You mean? I don't know what he means.
Yeah, they're favorite, Star Child. No, they're not a dog. It's all right.
Utah State in this one. It's going to be tough. Just go back and forth. I just think they have the better shooters here.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit, when I've laid a number with them, I just haven't had the best, I'm probably 500 with them throughout the year. But I like Utah State here a little bit, 3.5. Don't love it, though.
All right. We'll do both of these games here at the same time in the next conference. Big West Conference quarterfinals tonight. Dollar Loan Center, Henderson, Nevada, here tonight for this one. We've got Cal Davis, Cal Riverside, Cal Poly taking on UC Santa Barbara in these two quarterfinals tonight. Riverside, I agree with the move. I don't think Riverside's been a moneymaker for me down the stretch. They played better. I like how they've played at the defensive end of the court. I think they win. I'm going to go money line with them instead of laying the 2.5. I'm going to take Cal Poly. They turned some heads with what they did. The Long Beach is pretty good, and Cal Poly just beat the hell out of them in that game. I mean, they just destroyed Long Beach State, and I didn't like what I saw from UCSB down the stretch. Too inconsistent, up and down, not playing as well as they did. I think really it was the early to middle part of February. Since then, the Gauchos haven't played as well for this down the stretch. And this is a lot of points to be laying. And I know Cal Poly has been pretty bad all season long, but we've seen this over and over again in conference tournaments. You could go from being horrible, bad for such a long time this season, then all of a sudden you flip a switch in the conference tournament, and here you are beating the hell out of Long Beach State, a pretty good team like Cal Poly just did in their last game. Maybe they're going to catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe they're just going to find their game here in the conference tournament and maybe possibly go on a run. And we're not saying win tonight, but we're talking getting 10.5 with them. I'm going to take a shot with the Mustangs, getting 10.5 here, Cal Poly. Laying points of this magnitude with UCSB, not something I'm willing to do. What do you think here in the Big West?
Yeah, that was just one of the biggest shockers at Long Beach. I mean, it wasn't just a little upset, 88-68, just a beatdown, 20-point game there. I'm taking the points too. Low total. This one should be a little bit low scoring than that one, obviously, with Long Beach. I worry about them scoring, and they were dog shit. Different team a little bit, but dog shit early on, especially on the road or neutral court. So I always worry about that. But they play them tough. But man, through the year, 62-68. January 7th was 57-62. I think we see a game like that. They got to clamp down, go slow. Don't try to get up and down here with UCSB. So I'm on the 10.5 with you.
All right, we go to the WAC now, WAC conference, also in Las Vegas at the Orleans Arena. We've got Tarleton State, Utah Valley, and Utah Tech, Southern Utah in these two games. You got Utah Valley, 6.5 point favorites, 137. This is normally when I like to bet Tarleton State. They're underdogs. They're going to, try to slow things down, play solid defense, and they've been good in these neutral court games as underdogs. They go all the way back to early in the season. They were a good dog in a neutral court setting. Utah Valley is the better team, but not at this number do I want to lay this many with them. I think Tarleton State can hang around at 6.5, even 7-point dogs in some spots. And I'm going to keep riding the wave with Utah Tech. Utah Tech down the stretch has really played better. They're getting 5. We saw them beat Stephen F. Austin in their last game. Again, they're playing better down the stretch as well. And look, Southern Utah certainly is a very dangerous basketball team, excellent offensive team. It should be a fun game, too. There should be points here. I would lean over as well, 152.5 with that game. But I'm going to take Utah Tech again, ride the late season surge they've had. What do you think here, C-Mac, for the WAC?
Yeah, on that game first, it's, the real rivalry there with the old, Utah Tech now, as they call them, Southern Utah. And there seems to be points. I know that this number here, but I think this is a game that can get over, that can get back and forth. And just a high pace between those two teams. So I'd look over in that one. Obviously, Utah Valley, just that team played good all year long and tough, and they got their ass whipped by Tarleton, I don't know, just 2 weeks ago. I remember staring at this game for all day, and they beat their ass, Tarleton did. So there's a little revenge. It just might be too much for me. I lean Tarleton, but I'm off.
All right, good stuff. All right, next up here we've got the other WAC game. Or actually, no, we go to the Conference USA in Frisco, Texas, quarterfinals. Weird setup. Two games taking place simultaneously in the same venue at the Ford Center at the Star, and they've got like curtains, splitting the two games. So, breaking them up. So it's a weird situation there, but it works. They got two games going on at the same time. We got Western Kentucky, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, Middle Tennessee State, Louisiana Tech, North Texas, Rice, and UAB. I am Florida Atlantic's had a great season. I think there's definitely for them reason to maybe get an at-large bid as well, even if they don't win this Conference USA tournament. So I don't really want to step in front of them. Western Kentucky, they're getting a lot of points. I don't think they've been nearly as good as they've been in the past. I lean over. I like over here actually at 138.5. I like Charlotte. Charlotte to me is one of those teams that, man, they frustrate you. They play excellent defense. And I like the way they played down the stretch. They almost beat UAB late in the regular season. I like Charlotte there to pick them. Louisiana Tech, North Texas. Conor, both games went over the total this year, Louisiana Tech and North Texas. And they both got
Man,
way
it's dropping.
117.5. So I'm going to take a shot. I'm just going to say that total's just too damn low. I get it. North Texas is very good defensively, but both games, North Texas and Louisiana Tech went over the total. And I'm going to take a shot this one can at over 117.5. And obviously I like the over in Rice UAB. I mean, those are two teams that Rice, again, with these overs, they don't play great defense. UAB led by Jelly Walker should light them up. I like the over there. Nothing on the side, just the over in that game for me. What do you like there in the four quarterfinals, Conference USA?
Yeah, to me in that game is just look at UAB. I think they get probably 90, against Rice. Can Rice score enough to get that over? That's come down a couple points. Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat right now, North Texas has weirdly done it the last few years, Bavana, which I talked about. This crazy low total, and they'll cover. 9.5's a lot, though. I'm not taking them, but they've done it. They'll win like 58-46. I don't know. It's wild. I'm not going to do it. I look to the points with Louisiana Tech, but I'm not there. That game's tough. This one I looked at a ton. The Charlotte game. Both these teams have been pretty good to me, and this total I liked the under. It's dropped to 126.5, 125.5. Man, that should be a good game, and it's moved to Charlotte. I get it. And Middle Tennessee just hasn't been the same team away from home. They're a team that just wanted to back at home all year long. So I'm off. And the other one, FAU wins. Do you want to lay the number? Maybe look at them first half of their team total. But I'm off there as well.
All right, next up, we've got the Metro Atlantic quarterfinals, two of them tonight. Marist, Quinnipiac, Niagara, Siena. I like Marist +6. I do. I don't. Quinnipiac has had some really bad, nightmares lately of blowing leads. This has become a recurring problem for Quinnipiac in this conference. They've had leads and they haven't held these leads. That bothers me when you're laying 5.5, 6 on a neutral court. Marist, I was very impressed with their win against Manhattan yesterday. The coach that's their head coach, John Dunn, used to be with St. Peter's. He's been around a long time. Marist, has been a little bit better the last couple of games, especially defensively. The way they shut down to Manhattan was impressive. And Quinnipiac lately, they've had the propensity to give up leads. And I kind of think Marist at +6 might be the way to go in that one. I like Siena. I mentioned, I think Siena, if not Iona winning this conference tournament, I think there's value with Siena. I took them 10-1 to win this conference tournament. They're as healthy as they've been in a very long time. I know they sputtered down the stretch, no question, didn't play well, but I think this is their chance to hit the reset button. They've got McCollum finally healthy. I think that's going to help them significantly. I think they're a little bit better than Niagara. So and the betting markets seem to agree because they opened 2-point favorites. They're up to 3.5. So I like Siena, but I'll recommend money line. It's -155, -160 around that price. It's a little higher than I'd like, but if you haven't bet Siena yet, I would still say take a shot with the money line because that way you don't have to worry about the late game shenanigans if it's close. What do you think here, Conor, with the Metro Atlantic?
I'm on Marist already, +5.5. We get over 5 points like this. I want them. I think they split the series too. I just had it pulled up, but I'd have to look.
Yeah, they did.
And
Yep.
yeah, they did. Okay. They just got to be able to score. Their one problem is those droughts, and that's one thing that, obviously as a better scares the shit out of you when a team can't score. But I think they can hang there. The other one, I just didn't like how Siena played down the stretch, Bavano. And now I get it, and that they've took them. It's just 3.5. I'm not going to do it. I get why you want to take money line, but I'm not there. I'd be leery there. We'll see if Siena, that team, they're back healthy and good enough like they were playing months ago. Man, I don't want it. I'd be leery there.
All right. All right. We'll do the last 3 games of this Thursday slate. We've got the SWAC quarterfinals, Alabama A&M Southern. Southern 4-point favorites. The money's coming in on Southern, but Alabama A&M is the side I like here, plus 4.5 in this game. I think we have ourselves a competitive, tight game. I don't like what I've seen out of Southern, actually, down the stretch of the SWAC season. Down now, they're below 500. There's only one win separating these two teams. Alabama A&M actually finished the season 5-2 straight up down the stretch. Southern's only covered 1 point spread their last 6 games down the stretch. Their offense has really struggled. They haven't gotten more than 60 points, or they haven't cracked 70 points or more in 6 straight games. I think Alabama A&M plus the points is very live there. The MEAC quarterfinals, Morgan State, Maryland, Eastern Shore. I kind of lean Morgan State plus 6 there in that one against Maryland Eastern Shore. I think that's a competitive game. I like Maryland Eastern Shore, pick 'em or an underdog. They have a little bit of a tougher time as a favorite. And then I like the over with Coppin State, Norfolk State. And I definitely think Norfolk State's going to win. Norfolk State definitely has a chance to win this MEAC conference tournament. It's either going to be them or NC Central. To me, it'll be one of those teams winning this conference tournament. So that's what I'm liking there. Alabama A&M plus points, Morgan State plus points, and Coppin State, Norfolk State over 150 for the SWAC and the MEAC quarterfinals tonight. Connor, those 3 games, anything you like?
No, not really. But the game I am on Alabama A&M. I don't trust Southern. And there's 4.5. I'll take the 4.5. This is when we talked about the last couple of days, some of these, like it was UTSA yesterday. Southern shouldn't be laying 4.5 points here. Bottom line. I know we can get anything here. I just don't think the 4.5 points better. Take Alabama A&M with the 4.5. And the others, I get the Coppin over. Can they hang in that game? I'm not so sure. And I'm off Morgan State, Maryland.
All right, good stuff. There we go. A huge slate, and that is us getting through it in a little under 50 minutes there. Every game on this Thursday night college basketball conference tournament slate. And, of course, we'll have more of that tomorrow, although it'll be Cab with Conor tomorrow on the Friday edition of the Net Profit Show. If you want my thoughts on the Friday slate, I'll be on with Jimmy in the morning for Betting with the Bag at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we'll break down the conference tournament slate during that show. It'll be Cabby with Connor Mack for Net Profit tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. And reminder, we're back with weekend edition of the College Basketball Pub Up Show both days this weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, the usual time. And then Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We'll be on Sunday morning. It'll be a short show on Sunday. We've just got a handful of just a few conference tournament championship games on Sunday, hours before Selection Sunday. So make sure you join us for that Sunday morning. We'll have another bonus edition of the Pub Hub for you as well. Hit the like button, 216 live viewers. Appreciate it very much. We'll be back with Best Bets to wrap up the show right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke at Southtown 101 and manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code PUBSPORTS. All right, best bets to wrap it up for this Thursday edition of the show. Conor, best bet last night for me, Lafayette Colgate over the total. I said that dropped way too low, and it ended up being the case. Even after a slow start, that total ended up being too low in that Lafayette Colgate game. So good to cash that. We'll see what we've got for our best bets tonight. Conor, we'll start with you. What do you got for best bet?
There's a few here with the points. I think you could go with that Alabama A&M, but take that as well. But I'm not. Villanova. We're going big game here, +5. I think they cover, maybe beat Creighton tonight.
All right, Villanova. They covered twice against Creighton this season. Let's see if they can do so again. Villanova +5 against Creighton. Best bet for Conor Mack for this edition of the college basketball net profit show. My best bet for this slate, we are going to look at it. With Baycott's status, I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on North Carolina. I think if I had to pick a side, that would be the one. North Carolina +2.5 against Virginia. That will not be the best bet, though. Close, but Baycott being a little bit banged up with that ankle concerns me just a little bit. So that won't be best bet. Close, but not quite. What I am going to go with for best bet, you know what it is. It's Tulsa, Wichita State over. I mean, this team's just been a money machine for me with over the total repeatedly. The total's 137. It's very reasonable. I should point out, too, that the AAC has been a very, very high-scoring conference lately. Lots of overs in this conference. The last game in this conference tournament earlier today went over the total with SMU and UCF. Yeah, it went over the total. Yeah, I think this one will. Again, what are we? 13-1, 14-1, I believe, to the over. 13-1 to the over for Wichita State in their last 14 games. So Tulsa, Wichita State over 137. That's what we're going to go with for best bet for this Thursday card. All right, that'll wrap it up. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, we've got the college basketball net profit show with Conor and Cab tomorrow, 5 p.m. And I'll be back with Conor and Cab this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, for the college basketball pub-up show. For Conor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Friday for college basketball net profit. Conor, Cab. I'll be on with Jimmy the Bag on Betting with the Bag. So tune in for all of that tomorrow on Friday right here on Pub Sports Radio.
Peace.
Palooza 2 on the horizon. We're going to have live shows popping off at the Southtown 101. We're going to have a poker tournament, a par 3 golf tournament, UFC San Antonio on the Saturday night. A lot of excitement. Palooza 2, baby.